Hi everyone and welcome back to our Gamepad Widgets UMG series. This series, if you don't know what it's about, is about making a user interface that works both with a keyboard and a gamepad. And we're using sort of a RPG sort of template. Currently, we've got a character sheet where you can click on here or use a gamepad to navigate. We can also use the shoulder buttons to navigate between different pages. And we set up the inventory last time to work with our gamepad as well as our mouse. In this episode, we're going to go over the quest tab and how we're going to handle the quests. So the design for this is that we're going to have two sort of scroll boxes, one on the left, one on the right. The one on the left is going to have a list of all the available quests, and on the right it's going to have the details of the quest that you have selected. So let's get started on designing this page. Let's close that, don't need that for now. Okay, so I'm going to open up our quests, and in the quests here we are going to design the look and feel of it. So first of all, I'm going to get rid of this text because we don't want that, and instead we're going to have a horizontal box, and this thing's going to be stretching across the whole entire page. And so I'm just going to turn its offsets to 0, 0, and anchor to the full screen anchor there. And it should therefore stretch to the whole entire width. Inside there, we're going to have two scroll boxes, or two scroll boxes inside vertical boxes. So let's find the vertical box and drag one in to one side and the other into the other side. And for both of these, you'll notice they're quite thin. That's because by default, they're set to auto size based on their contents. Nothing in the contents, therefore nothing in the width. But I want these to take up half the screen each. So on the first one, I'm going to go over to the right hand side and change its size to fill. And we'll do the same for the second one. And you'll see they now share the space evenly. But what I'm going to do is going to add some padding to all of this. So I'm going to, overall for the horizontal box, I'm going to add some padding to its contents using offsets. 50, actually let's do 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. And in each vertical box, so this one on the left here, on the right hand offset, or padding rather, do 50. And on this one, do left 50. So you get like an even space down the middle. So this vertical box on the left is going to have the available quests, and the one on the right is going to be the quest details. So on that vertical box on the left, we're going to have a text, and this text is going to say available quests, and we'll just change the size of that text to something a bit bigger. Let's try 35, and I'm also going to drag in a scroll box too. Okay, so we've got available quest and a scroll box. Again, by default, it's set to auto its size based on its contents. We're going to go up to the top and change it to fill, and it'll stretch the whole entire height of its container. On the right hand vertical box, we're going to do something very similar. So I'm going to just do text again into that vertical box. And this one is going to be the quest title, which will change based on what you've got selected. Make that same size. And inside here, we're going to have a scroll box. And that's going to contain the quest details. Again, choosing the fill. But inside this scroll box, we're going to drag in some text, because that's all that's going to be in there. It's just text. So in here, I can change this to be called the quest detail, description. And I'm going to leave it at 24. And I'm going to go down to say auto wrap text. Okay. And that's basically set up for our appearance of our quest tab. What I'm going to focus on now is the actual individual quest buttons in this list here. And for that, we're going to make a separate widget, a sub widget, which will then be auto populated into that field. So I'm going to close that and make a new widget. I've called it quest slot UI. inside your quest.ui, we're going to get rid of the canvas panel because we don't need it. And instead, we're going to put in a button. And this button is not going to have any appearance. So we're going to go down to its background color and change that to a 0 in the alpha. Inside there, we're going to drag a border. And that border, you'll see it appears very small. We want to make that fill the whole entire thing. So on horizontal alignment and vertical alignment, just make it span the whole entire width. And the content for this is going to be a brush color. We're going to make that alpha set to 0. The padding for it, we're going to give it a bit of padding, and let's say 20. We'll see how this looks with some text in a minute, but we'll start with 20. And I'll drag another border inside of that. And this one is going to be the brush color that we've been using for the dark, for the buttons. Inside there, we're going to have a horizontal box. And the horizontal box is going to have 2 text fields. 1, 2. So the first one is going to represent the level required for the quest. So we can do quest level. And this one is going to be the title of the quest. Quest title. Now to see how the borders look, I'm going to change this to desired. You can see kind of how it's going to look in regards to the quest text size. So this border here has got that 20 padding around the side. That's a bit too large. Let's change that to 10. That's a bit better. For this horizontal box in the second one, we're going to add a bit of bigger border here. We're going to do another 10 there. No, not 10 there, sorry. We'll change that one to 0. And a horizontal box is going to have padding of 10. There we go. So you get a little bit of space here and there. I'm also going to put in some space between the quest level and the quest title. So I'm just going to put some padding in between those two. So on the quest level, I'm going to expand open padding and change the right value here to 100. And that'll push that right to the side there. And on the quest title here, I'm going to make it infill from the left-hand side still. But what will happen is this box will then stretch basically out based on its size of the title. And I think we're happy with that. Okay. So the two things that are going to change in this are the quest level and the quest title. So both of these need to be set to variables. So on the quest level, I'm going to rename it quest level text, and tick is variable. And second one is going to be quest title text, tick is variable. Compile those, and next we're going to do is go to the first border, and no, sorry, not first border, the first border or button. We'll do the button. So the button, we want to also make a variable. We'll go button, just call it quest button, I guess. Quest button, and make sure it's a variable. Okay, so now go to your graph, and in your graph, we're going to add a couple of variables to this, and that's going to be the quest level. That'll be an integer, and we're going to add a quest title. And whilst we're here, we're also going to do the quest description. Now, based on your quest design, this information would come from your quest log, the component or actor that's controlling all and containing all the quests your player has. You would fetch this and populate these based on that log, okay, which will semi-skim over. I don't want to focus too much on it because you can probably figure that out. If you follow my quest series, you can see how it's going to work with this. This one's going to be called quest description. And we're going to make both, well, all of these, we're going to make editable and exposed on spawn. Editable, exposed on spawn, and editable, exposed on spawn. Okay. And click compile. So on the construct, or pre-construct, you can do either. We'll do the pre-construct because we can then see it working in the editor. we're going to set our text here to these values here. So drag your quest level text out, just get and set text. And the quest level text is from that integer, drag that out and plug that in. My quest title, text, set text. And that's going to require the quest title. Compile. And I'm just going to put in some default values for these so we can actually see it working. So my quest level, I'm going to put in a level of 1. The quest title, I'm going to put in here default quest title. Like so. And hit compile. So that's that done. And you can see those things appear here because it's in the pre-construct, it'll appear here. What I'm going to do now is set up the button to communicate forwards. So I'm going to do that through an event dispatcher. So on event dispatchers, add a new one. And we're going to do quest selected. And on the button, with that selected, we're going to add the on-clicked event down the bottom here. With that, we're going to drag quest selected out and choose call. Okay. Now, the quest selected is going to output a few details. Basically, you want it to output anything that you want to show in your quest details panel on your main HUD. So, with that selected in your list over here, go to inputs and add a new input. We're going to do the quest title. That'll be a text. And I'm going to add also the quest description. And again, that's text there. But you put in anything you like. You can, if you've got objectives, they go in there too. Rewards, so on and so forth. So quest title will go in there. Description will go in there. Hit compile. Couldn't find a pin for all quests selected. Oh, hang on. Sometimes it does this. If it still says new parameter, even though you changed it over here, just disconnect it, compile, save. If that still doesn't work, just drag it back out again and click call. There you go. Sometimes it does that. So now you can compile that and it works. So next we're going to add a tick event, because what we're going to do now is set it up so that it highlights if it's selected or hovered over by the mouse. So at the moment, this quest slot UI, the root of it, is the thing that's going to receive the focus. And what we want to do is when it receives focus, we want to just change the focus over to the button so we can click it. So first of all, click on the quest slot UI, and you should see this is focusable button. Turn that on, and then go to your graph. Now in the tick event, we're going to do the is hovered node, and we also want to do has keyboard focus. So has keyboard focus refers to the gamepad, and is hovered refers to the mouse input. This will go into a branch, and both of these will go into an OR, because either of them could be true for this to work. So it will keep an eye on this, and if either of these are true, we want it to set the focus to the quest button. So drag your quest button variable out, choose get, and set focus. And you must say set keyboard focus. Okay, hit compile. And last thing we're going to do on here is change the appearance of the quest button when it has got focus. So right click, type in focus, and you want the event right at the top that says added to focus path. And we're going to drag the quest button out. And we're going to set background color and plug that in. So if it has got focus, we'll make it sort of yellowish. Do. And then we're going to do loses focus. Just type in focus, sorry. That'll be easier. You want an event on removed from focus path. And that's going to be much the same. We're going to have the set background color. But this time, the background color is going to have an alpha of 0. Plugging that back into there. hit compile. And we're done here with the quest button. Okay, so to recap, the pre-construct is setting up the values on it, the quest level and the quest title. The on-clicked event is going to do a event dispatcher and send up the quest title and quest description to its parent, which we'll do in a minute. On the event tick, we're continuously checking whether or not this button has focus or is being hovered. If it is, we're changing the focus back down to the quest button, and in that case, we're making it so that we can change its selection. Okay. Okay, so we can close that and go to our quests UI, and we can add them to this list here. So if I go to my thing here, and I want to drag just one in for now, and I'm going to just duplicate this down. So I can click on it and select it and Control W, and it'll add loads. And I'm going to add a few, just enough to scroll past. Okay. Now, what you typically do in a game is you have something else that's holding your quest log data, not necessarily this screen, but a quest log component that you may have the player character. All you do is on the graph, on the pre-construct, is you fetch that from the player character, that quest log, and you do a for each loop on the array of quests that you have. And on each quest, you just generate one of these tabs, inserting in the quest details you want to insert, like the quest level, title, description. But in this case, I don't have a quest log set up, so I'm just inputting in some blank ones here. Okay, so that's now set up in that list there. And I can click compile. And if I want, I can go into the game and show that list there. And I can use the scroll wheel on the mouse already to scroll the scroll box. Okay. Now, you can see the hovering working. But if I click on it, nothing happens. Okay. So what I'm going to do is set up the clicks to respond to the event dispatcher that we set up. So go to your graph, and on the construct or pre-construct, we'll do it on the construct, I think. On the construct, we are going to get all the children of that scroll box. So go to your scroll box, and I'm going to name this one available quests and tick the is variable box. Go back to your graph, and it should now appear in your variables. We're going to drag that out, choose get. From there, we're going to get all children, and that will give us an array of all the contents of that scroll box. This array can go into a for each loop, so we cycle through each of the items. Now for each item, every one of those has that event dispatcher. So what we're going to do is going to bind the event. It would help if I went compile first, maybe. I think I may have to cast it first. So cast to quest slot UI. Bind to if quest selected. Okay, so at the start, it only does it once at the construct of it, and it will bind an event to each of those quest selected event dispatchers. So the event for this is going to be a custom event. So I'm going to drag from there and do custom event, and it should come in with your quest title and quest description already as inputs. And I'm going to call this one quest selected, like so. So once it's selected, we're going to tell it to update this side of the screen. So I'm going to have to go and make these variables. So quest title here, quest details underscore title text is variable, and the quest description, you go quest details underscore description text, and is variable. And then in the graph, back on here, we can now drag these out. So quest title description get. I'm going to set the text for this to be quest title, and quest description set text to be the quest description that we've passed through. Okay, so if that's making a bit of sense to you. So when we click a button, it's just going to update those text fields with whatever we want it to show. Okay, so let's see how that works. So I'm going to go in my designer view and just select the first one here, and set this quest level here to, I don't know, 5. My first quest. Oh. My first quest. I'm just going to paste in my lorem ipsum stuff I've got from the internet, just for now, but you can type in whatever value you like. We've got 2 paragraphs of it there, so it should scroll. And then I'm going to go to the second one here, change this one to 7. The second coming. And again, I'm going to paste in some lorem ipsum in here too. This time it's 2 different paragraphs, so you can see the difference. I'm just going to do that for now. So click compile and click play. Open up my menu, go to my quest tab, and I click on my first one. You can see it appear there. And again, my scroll wheel automatically on my mouse will work for this. So that's the mouse controls working. Let's try the actual gamepad. So at the moment, I can change my selection if I've already got one selected. If I haven't got one selected, this won't work. Okay, we have to set something up in a second. And also, my right stick does not control my right hand menu. If I scroll down here, that'll work. But we want it to also work on the right hand side as well. So let's go through this. First of all, let's set it up so when we launch into the quest tab, it will automatically choose the first quest. Okay, so hit stop and go to my quest menu. On this for each loop, at the end of the for each loop on the completed here, we're going to drag our available quests scroll box out, get child at index 0, and the return value for this is going to come out, and you're going to set navigation wall. And the rule is for this first child is the direction up is going to stop, and that'll stop the focus from leaving the scroll box up the top. We don't have to worry about it going down because we've got nothing at the bottom, but you can also add the bottom one if you want here too. Okay, so that'll do that. Next, we're going to make it so that it auto focuses on the first option when this screen is selected. So first of all, we have to detect when the screen is selected. So we're going to do that in the event tick. And we go has keyboard focus. And put that into a branch. That is true. We're going to again grab our available quests scroll box and get child at index 0 and set focus, keyboard focus, to that child. Hit compile and let's play. So it goes over to my quests, and you see it automatically selected the first one. If I push up on the stick, it won't go up. I can go down still. Okay. So the last thing we're going to do here is make it so that when we, on the right hand stick, we are scrolling the scroll box on the right hand side. So back into the quest menu, go to the graph, and you go to a functions and override a function. So on the overrides here, these are all the functions that this currently has, okay, like from its parent. We're going to override it because we're going to put in our own code in one of these. And the one we're going to use is, if I find it, there you go, on analog value changed. Choose that one. And this will work for any analog input, so like triggers or sticks. So the first thing we're going to do is get the in analog input event. Okay, and we're going to get the analog value from that. Next, we're also going to get the key that is currently being pushed. Okay, so going to get key, and the input from that is going to come from this input event. We're going to then compare that using equals and check whether it is the analog value is coming from the stick. So I'm going to go gamepad, right thumbstick, y-axis, and that will go into a branch. Set that in there. If it's true, we're going to take this analog value, which is going to report either -1 or 1, and we're going to multiply it by -10. Now 10 to increase the speed of it, otherwise it's going to go 1 pixel at a time. It'll take ages. And the minus is because it's inverted. Okay, so down is up, up is down. With that done, we need to get hold of this scroll box. So go back to design view, select that bottom scroll box, change its details here, request description scroll box, tick its variable, go to my graph, and I'm going to drag that out, choose get, and we can set the scroll offset, and this handles what is the position of the scroll bar on the scroll box. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab the current scroll offset and add our sum here, plugging it back into your new scroll offset. We finally put that into the return node, and the return value for this is going to be just type in handled, and that will stop the input from going anywhere else. It will just execute it here, and that should do just fine as it is. Push play, and let's test that out. So I go to my quests, select my first quest, and now using my right stick, I can now scroll the screen on the right. Go down to second quest, I can scroll that one. These ones don't have anything, but they could do. Okay, and I can leave and come back, and it'll be just as fine. Next, we're going to do is make it so that when we first launch it, if I go back into here, you'll notice that the quest title and quest description appear by default. I want to make those invisible or have no values in it at all when there's nothing selected. So simply just go into here, go into each one, and delete the text that's in there. And that'll do you. So the final thing, push the start button, shoulder button over to the quest. I click on my first text there, and I can control the screen. There you go. And that will do for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to tackle the final screen, which is the map. And that's going to have an image which you can scroll around the image, get different locations and look around. Thanks very much for watching. If you want to watch that next part right now, head over to patreon.com/Ryan Ailey, where a donation of just $1 will get access to that content right now, plus much, much more. Thank you so much for all my patrons for being supportive and donating each month. I wouldn't be doing this without you guys, so big shout out and thank you to all of you. And gold patrons can look forward to having this whole project file available to them over on the Patreon page as well. Thank you very much everyone, and I'll see you next time when we tackle the map screen. Bye bye.